The giant otters at the Elm Hill City Zoo are about to get a new home. Today we will move the giant otters to their new and improved habitat in the Latin America house. I really love when we are improving the living conditions of our animals at the zoo, and I hope you guys will enjoy today's episode. Hello guys, this is Cesar Creates and welcome back to my channel. It is finally time for a new Elm Hill City Zoo video, and this time we are back to creating our Latin America house in the zoo. For those of you who don't know or who don't remember, I started to build the Latin America house right after the America's Pack for Planet Zoo was released. We already added the bush dogs to it, we added the Saki monkeys and the ocelot. I also wanted to add the sloth to this habitat, but after some of your comments and suggestions from several people in the comments, and also even from one of my fellow YouTubers, Wyatt Andrews Workshop, I decided to add one more animal that we actually had in the zoo already, and by the intro, thumbnail and the title of this video you will probably know what I am talking about here, and this is the giant otter. So the giant otter was in the zoo for such a long time. It was actually one of the first animals that I added here, and it was a part of the small mammal house. If you guys have been following this series for a long time, you probably remember this house. I've built several enclosures in there for animals like the Chinese pangolin, like the aardvark, and for example the giant otter, but right now I think that this house doesn't make sense anymore. The animals are actually not small mammals that live in there. Like, the giant otter is definitely not small, it is the largest of the otters, and it is large indeed. So that's why I decided to get rid of that building, and we are slowly and surely like moving the animals out of it. We've already built a new and improved habitat for the aardvarks in the Goodwin Center, and now it is time for our giant otters to move them out of there and to the new enclosure in the Latin America house. I really enjoy those rebuilds of the enclosures because they show me how much I have improved in this game, how much my building style, my skills have improved. I really like the comparison between those two habitats, the new one and the old one, and it kind of gets me a bit proud of myself and shows me how much I achieved during this time of having my channel and building those enclosures. I mean, zoos do it all the time. They improve the older enclosures, they move the animals to better and bigger enclosures. There's always something going on with the zoos, some renovations and stuff, so this is something that we are doing here as well in the Elm Hill City Zoo. We will for sure stop at some point because I could go on and improve the older exhibits all the time and it will be like the endless circle, but there are definitely some enclosures that I want to improve, and the animals from the small mammal house will be getting new spots in the zoo for sure. I actually wanted to move the giant otters somewhere else, but after so many suggestions I decided that it indeed makes sense to add them here to the Latin America house, and this is something that we will do today. The one thing that I actually don't like about this enclosure and about Planet Zoo in general is that this enclosure, because of its position, will be fully in the shadows. The building is just, you know, casting this huge shade because of the direction of the sun and how it is shining in the game on this habitat, and you cannot see much of the details that I've added here, but we have to live with that, and I try to make sure that at least some parts of it will be in the sun, just as the water section, for example. And when it comes to the water section, if you guys remember, and you probably saw in the intro, the initial habitat for them had a huge like underwater viewing that I was really not a fan of, but the guests could see them dive. In here they wouldn't be able to do so. I decided to go for more like a older looking but still really nice habitat with no such fancy things like the underwater viewing. But I will be definitely adding the underwater viewing thing for them in the inside of the building, because as I told you guys already so many times, all of the animals that we added up to this point to this building will have their indoor areas in the side of the Latin America house, and this is something that we'll do in one big episode with adding the walkthrough exhibit for the sloths, and this is something that you can expect as the next episode of the Elm Hill City Zoo. I cannot wait for that. I cannot wait to finally finish this project and also to add it to the workshop. I hope the game will allow me to do so, and you guys will be able to enjoy this house and all the animals in your zoos as well. So as you guys can see on the screen, I am still working on the barriers for this exhibit. The really fun thing that I did was making those small tiny windows on the different levels. This will be something really cool for the kids, for example. If the otters will come next to those windows, that will give them this really amazing opportunity to see them up close. This is just something for fun. I've been to a lot of zoos recently, and I am trying right now when I'm visiting the zoo to pay attention not only to the habitats and how they look, how they work, etc., but also to the guests' experiences and some fun things for the guests, because I think that my zoos sometimes are lacking this a bit, so I would love to learn and build more of those things in the future. And this is something that I tried for the first time, using those metal pieces from the America's pack. Really nice, really beautiful pieces that work so good for those windows, and I really love this detail about this habitat. I would have fun in there if I'll be visiting in real life, just looking through those tiny different windows and looking for the otters. I briefly talked about visiting some zoos like recently, so if you guys have been following on my social media, you know that I recently been on a little zoo trip. I visited 3 amazing zoos. 2 of them you can already see on my channel as some short videos, and also on my other social media. Those were the Paradisa, where I stayed for a night and it was so incredible, and also the Blijdorp in Rotterdam, also an amazing zoo. And I hope that next week I will also be able to upload everything from visiting Artis, which was also amazing. I really loved it. It was like a proper city zoo, something very up my alley. So yeah, I had some amazing experiences, and I loved the 3 zoos, although they were so much different from each other. I took so much inspiration from them. Actually, for my Elm Hill City Zoo, I think that Artis will be the biggest inspiration. The most incredible zoos, which is Paradisa, I think that will be the least inspiring actually for this series, which is quite weird. But yeah, I felt the most inspired in Artis. Blijdorp was also amazing. So yeah, I have so much like inspiration right now, and also so much drive to actually play Planet Zoo. I must say that the last couple of weeks were sort of like a series of the unfortunate events for me, unfortunately. That's why you guys had to wait a bit for this episode right here. But I hope that from now on the Planet Zoo uploads will be a bit more like regular. I basically was sick, then I had so much work, I had to travel a bit, and also I again had some issues with Planet Zoo and my PC. I don't know what happened. I was trying everything because none of my zoos wanted to work for some time. I was texting Frontier and so on, but something weird happened. And what actually helped, this was weird and maybe this will help someone, I was trying everything, and what helped me was actually deleting a bunch of blueprints from the Steam Workshop. And suddenly everything is working smoothly, and yeah, the game works once again. So I don't know if one of the blueprints was faulty or I had just too much of them installed, but something was definitely off. And also, while doing all my research on, trying to get Planet Zoo to work on my PC again, I discovered something that also helped a lot with the actual performance. So even though the zoo is huge, I now have quite a smooth experience when I'm playing it. So maybe maybe you know it, maybe I'm just dumb and didn't realize about this, but if you'll go to your Steam settings and you'll disable the Steam overlay, the games are supposedly run better and smoother, and I didn't know that. So yeah, I learned that recently, and from now on the game is working so much better. So yeah, just a tip from me. And besides that, there was a lot of things going on with new releases, with new announcements by Frontier when it comes to both Planet Coaster 2 and Jurassic World Evolution 3. I wanted to cover all on my channel. I know that my channel recently looks more like the news channel for Frontier, but I promise you guys that this is about to change. I have already some pre-recorded videos that will be released in the following days or weeks, so yeah, I cannot wait for that. And it feels so good to be actually back on track. I have this sort of like a drive to, you know, even further develop the Cesar Creates whole brand and my channel and all of my social media. So I hope that with your support I will be able to do that, because I see so much potential in that. So yeah, I don't know, I just kind of rediscovered the drive for this all recently, and I am so excited for that. But talking about all the news when it comes to Frontier games, they're also awfully silent when it comes to Planet Zoo. I really hope that they are like cooking something, they're preparing something for us and for next DLC, because yeah, there's nothing, like they are not even, you know, doing any animal showcases on their social media or anything. I even got some messages from you guys who are concerned if I know something or that is happening, or if there are any like announcements planned from Planet Zoo. But first of all, I can't tell you anything because of the legal stuff, and second of all, I normally know anything about any announcements like 1 or 2 days before, so, and they don't inform us about their plans. So yeah, I hope that they're preparing something, and I'm still hoping for at least one more DLC for Planet Zoo. That would be amazing. I still have some very requested animals for this game, cause it's been a while since we've been in the Elm Hill City Zoo. I wanted to briefly talk about some plans that I have for this series. So the biggest plan right now is to finish the Latin America house, and then I have some really amazing and really requested animals planned for this series, some big hitters. So definitely stay tuned for that. We'll be coming back to some unfinished sections in the zoo. We'll be probably starting something new as well. So I have some big plans for this series, some really amazing animals that I always wanted to build for. So yeah, I hope you are excited. But let's finally go back to our giant otters and their new habitat, new improved habitat for them. I am so happy for those guys because they are getting such an improved home in our Elm Hill City Zoo. The previous habitat was maybe not my worst work, but it wasn't anything special, and to be honest, it kind of looks more like a habitat for a beaver, or for more like a more temperate animal with all that foliage. And also, I am not a huge fan of the building that was the small mammal house, so this one is definitely so much better. Although the Latin America house is a building that I would think would be built in like 90s or something, but it's still in a very good condition. It's the habitats are so nice, they are really well maintained, and the indoor area they will be very interesting. So also stay tuned for that, because I just cannot wait to build it. I hope that what I have in my head I will be able to just, you know, transfer to Planet Zoo and it will just work fine. If you guys watched the previous episodes, you probably realized that I used the same fences as I used for the bush dogs. Those habitats will be next to each other. This is all the same house, so I decided that there needs to be some cohesion between some of the habitats in this building. That's why I decided to use the same fences. If you like to see how I actually created them, you can go back to the bush dog habitats. What I also did was build the entire water section. It is very deep, but I wanted to make sure that the animals will be able to dive. And unfortunately, they are not. This is something that I just hate about Planet Zoo, that the animals that are actually diving need so much space for them to be able to dive. This pond is large, it is very deep, it meets all the dimensions that I think everything should work, and it isn't. They are not diving for some reason, but I am not willing to make it even bigger because I think it will look a bit weird. This habitat is a bit inspired by the habitat that I saw for them in one of the zoos in my country, in Poland, so the Wood Zoo. It is maybe not super inspired, but this is where I got the idea for this water section, and not being like an underwater viewing or anything. So yeah, the vibes are sort of there. For realism, I wanted to make this water section like a lined concrete pool, so I did just that with the concrete pieces. I really like how this has turned out. It can be drained for winter, it can be cleaned, it is not like a natural body of water, and thanks to that the water won't be that murky, I think. So even though it is fully artificial, I still wanted to add some greenery to it, some rocks. I wanted to add like a small waterfall. We'll all do it all in a second, but what I also did is of course finish all the fences. Then I decorated the area around the whole habitat a bit. I wanted to give this a bit more like a tropical feelings, because those are very tropical animals. They live in Amazonian forests, and what is better at providing some tropical vibes at the European City Zoo than some bamboo? They are everywhere here in the zoo. Wherever there's like a more tropical section, you will find a lot of bamboo. Even though bamboo normally grows in Asia, it is used for African rainforest, it is used for South American rainforests in the zoo, so this is something that I went for here today as well. So you'll see some big bamboo bushes all around this habitat. Again, I wanted to make it look a very like overgrown, for this a bit like an immersive experience for our guests, so this is what I was going for. But of course, after the whole like area around the habitat was done, so also the backstage area that I forgot to mention, there will be like a additional holding pen for them, and like a area where the keepers will be actually able to enter this little like backstage area, both for the otters and for the bush dogs. It was time to actually start working on an actual habitat. I wanted to make it very green. I wanted to have a lot of plants in there. The giant otters wouldn't destroy the plants, so this was my opportunity to really step in and do a lot of tropical foliage, just as we did for example, ocelots, and those habitats always look so good. So this is what I went for. We of course used the stalagmite pieces for the backdrop of this habitat. I also added some more like those dynamic rock moss rocks or something for the background, just as we did for other habitats in this house. And yeah, added some rocks here and there, added a lot of plants as I told you, added some enrichment items for them. I wanted to make this look very like aquatic or semi-aquatic. That's why we are using a lot of high grasses next to the water section. I also saw that in giant otter habitats there's always a lot of logs, a lot of hollow logs for them to probably play, climb on a bit, and so on. So this is also something that I added. Also added a blueprint by ZSH Plays that I love. He created this hollow log for the smaller animals that actually can use and actually sleep in this log. But in here we are using it. It won't be usable for the otters. It is just a decoration and something that we need to use our imagination for, because of Planet Zoo restraints. They wouldn't be able to go inside this hollow log, but in real life I'm sure that they would have a blast. Giant otters are very social. They live in family groups, they bond with each other, they also use a lot of different vocalizations. They basically have their own language. Every sound means something else. There's a different sound for greeting each other, there's a different sound for that warns the pack members about some danger. They are very highly intelligent animals, so they for sure need a lot of enrichment in their enclosures. This is the largest otter species. In fact, they are also the largest member of the weasel family and can grow up to 1.8 meters, which is in fact the size of an adult human. They are the apex predators. They can hunt down big fish, they also eat crustaceans, snakes, and even small caimans. They are sometimes even called the river wolves because of how coordinated and fearless they are when hunting together. And the other fun fact is that every giant otter has a unique cream-colored pattern on its throat. It's like a fingerprint, so that helps researchers and also zookeepers to tell the otters apart. And unfortunately, they are endangered, mostly due to the habitat loss and hunting for their beautiful fur. But thanks to conservation and zoos around the world, more people are learning about them and helping protect them in the wild, which is so nice to hear. So yeah, very interesting species right here. I think that they are not as popular and not as loved as, for example, the Asian small-clawed otter, just because they are not so adorable and so tiny and cute. They are a large animal that doesn't have this like very cutesy appearance. They are fierce predators. But still, I love to see them in the zoos every time. They are very interesting to watch and they are indeed large. And this is why I am so happy that I am able to build another habitat for them in the Elm Hill City Zoo. So this one is so much improved. So as you guys can see right now, we are adding a lot of details to this habitat. So we'll be adding a lot of plants, both on the ground and also on the rock formation that is in the background, and a lot of different details such as decals on the ground. I also added some of those tree bark paths to add additional texture on the ground of the habitat, and also to add a bit more like tropical feeling to it. I'll also add a lot of leaf piles on the ground to make it look like the leaves just have fallen off of the plants that are growing in this habitat. And later on, I will also add different decals on the bottom and on the walls of the water section to make it look a bit dirty, not so perfect, to add some dimension to it, and also some like realistic algae and some dirt that will just accumulate there over the time. And I think this brought this whole water section to the whole new level. And that is it when it comes to this habitat. Keep that in mind that we'll also have a big indoor section for them where, as I told you, we'll have a big underwater viewing for the guests. So this is only like a half or maybe a bigger half of their enclosure. The rest will be indoors for them to stay during the colder months, as again we are building the zoo in Central Europe. I also got some questions in the past of what I want to do instead or in the place of the small mammal house, and I think that after visiting Pyridiza and also Artis, I am very inspired to build an habitat for the Arctic wolves. It will make sense because we have some different canines in this section of the zoo, and the Arctic wolves are so beautiful. I have never seen them before in real life, but the both zoos have them. Those are like Canadian wolves or something, but they are still white, and I really would like to add them to the zoo. So this is something that I will probably do in that spot, and maybe also build a restaurant, because this is something that we are very lacking in this zoo. So yeah, those are my plans for this little section, and I think that it will make sense. Okay guys, this is all when it comes to the speed build part of the video. I will meet you in a second in the cinematic shots to show you around. Our giant otters are now moved to their new and improved habitat, and I think that they enjoy it. This was so fun to build. I love improving the living conditions of our animals at the zoo, and I think that this habitat is much more suited to their needs and is just way prettier. I'm so glad that so many of you suggested that we'll add the giant otters here as well, so thank you for that. It was an amazing idea. And right now the outside of the whole building is actually finished. I still of course need to do the roofing, but this is something for the next episode where we'll also focus on the whole interior. This will for sure be a challenge. When it comes to the otter habitat, I especially love this wall over here with those small windows where the guests can get a sneak peek of the otters here and there. I think that this will be especially entertaining for the kids that will be visiting our zoo. The otters seem to enjoy the water section, as otters do. They spend a lot of time there, which makes me very happy. I really like how this waterfall has turned out in here, like this really small waterfall, but it still looks amazing. And the whole habitat is just the way I wanted it. Very overgrown, very green, but also very spacious for them. Here is a little backstage area with some holding pens for both the otters and the bush dogs. And here is how the whole habitat looks from the upper perspective. I cannot wait for the next episode of the Elm Hill City Zoo and this whole house to be finished. I also cannot wait to build another of those rebuilds because I really enjoy them. We have animals like the red panda, the koala, the Chinese pangolin that are still coming, and some others as well, but I won't reveal all of my plans. Okay guys, this is all when it comes to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Ring the bell if you want to be notified every time I upload a new video like this. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and of course leave me a comment and tell me what you think about this new giant otter habitat. If you'd like to support the channel a little bit extra and become a sponsor of one of the habitats in the Elm Hill City Zoo, you can do it with the join button down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!